So what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the end of season review for the class of 22. You've probably guessed I'm recording this straight after the last episode, so still on the buzz from that FA Cup win. What a win it was as well. So let's crack on and have a little look and see how the players have done this season, who's won the awards, and then we'll chat about where we're going from here. So in terms of the end of season awards, young player of the season goes to Lucas Gomez. Now Gomez has had a good season, so it doesn't surprise me. But for me, Bunting, Davidson and Much probably all had a better season, in my opinion. Although he did play 22, get 22 goals, I guess, 13 assists. So he's had a really good season. But in terms of like consistency of playing games and stuff, those three guys have probably been ahead of him in that, but I suppose it is a fair in a way. He's got a lot of goals, a lot of assists, so he's actually done better than I realised he'd done this season, so that's that. Signing of the season was Sevilla, which doesn't surprise me at all. He's had a good running goal for us. He's played 14, conceded 12, but he's been decent enough. He's got a lot of room for improvement in a lot of areas. He concedes a lot of silly goals for me, goals that he really shouldn't be conceding, like that Harry Kane goal in the FA Cup final. I can't help but feeling like De Gea would have saved it, but you never know. I suppose it's one of those things. His sort of reflex reaction wasn't as good as I would have liked it to have been, but his reflexes are 16, so you'd think it would have been quite high up there, but it just seemed to be a little bit off to me. But all in all, he's had a good stint since coming in. Obviously hasn't played Champions League games. Goal of the season goes to Paul Pogba against Sporting. Let's have a little look at that. I'm always a bit dubious about goals of the season because I always think I've seen better as I've played through the game. It's Silva, heads it down. Oh, that is beautiful. One touch to control and one touch on the volley. One touch to control, one touch on the volley, one touch control and then the volley. That is actually a very beautiful goal. It is a very beautiful goal. So yeah, I'd go with that. And there is no denying this. There is no denying it at all. In fact, I'm surprised he didn't get higher than 77% because Andre Silva has scored 54 goals in 39 games this season, 21 assists, 7 penalties, 15 player of the matches. He's only had 1 yellow card and no red cards, average rating of 7.89. He has been an absolute monstrosity in front of goal in a good way. He's been absolutely amazing. Really, really pleased with how he's been. I wasn't so sure about him at the beginning of the season, but boy did he turn my opinion around, and he has had an absolute Boston year. Absolute Boston. So in terms of our beloved little club for Ryan Giggs here, I think we need to have a little look now. I clicked on the wrong thing. I'm not going to hide the fact that I did that. We need to have a little look at some of the players. So in terms of appearances, Regan Bunting has made 45 appearances over all competitions this season, which is amazing. Pogba made 43, got that injury towards the end. We've got Silva on 39, Eric Bailly on 37. But in terms of the class of 22, we got 45 out of Bunting. We got 37 out of Greg Clark, who I thought was going to be one of the weak links. We managed to get 33 out of Osborne, 32 out of Much, 30 out of Davidson. He did have a couple of periods of picking up knocks and stuff. And Harwood, to his credit, being the weaker of the three, managed 18 appearances with an average rating of 7.8, which I think is really, really good. When you look at the average rating of the other guys, we've got Davidson on 741, Osborne on 713, Clark on 721. Where's Much gone? Where's he gone? There he is. Much on 736 and Bunting on 722. So out of the, I mean, look at Coleman's in 17 games, got an average rating of 8.5. That is superb. But in terms of the class of 22, in terms of average rating in the match, it stands out as being Freddie Davidson being the man out in front, with Much following him up. And then we have Bunting and co. a bit further down the list, but they've all had good seasons. Really good seasons. In terms of in front of goal, we have Andre Silva with 54 goals in all competitions, Rashford with 23, and then Davidson with 20. Towards the end of the season, that second half of the season, he turned into an absolute goal machine. His partnership with Silva was as good, if not better, than Lucas Gomez and Silva, to the point where he was keeping Lucas and Rashford and Martial out of the team. Martial got 11 goals this season with 6 assists, but he was actually beaten in the goal scoring by Jimmy Much, who got 12 goals and 16 assists. So that's really good. In terms of the class, obviously we've got Davidson, Much, where is the next guy down? Where have we gone? Osborne got 2 goals, 6 assists, and Bunting got 3 assists, no goals. Harwood got no goals, no assists, as did Clark. So all in all, though, they've had, again, a fantastic little run with that. And if we just click on the assists there, you can have a little look through if you want to pause it. Jimmy Much, the joint second with Inaki Williams and Marcus Rashford for most assists. And then in third place is Freddie Davidson. That is amazing that Freddie Davidson's had such a good season. So those two guys have really, really kicked on and done well. Also, apologies if you keep hearing me snuffling. I sound a bit coldy. It appears that over the course of today, I appear to be coming down with a bit of a cold, so I apologise for that. But there we have it. In terms of potential, we've got a lot of players starting to creep up towards theirs. Still out of the Class 22, Mr. Davidson's potential is the apparent highest. And then second on the list is Jimmy Much. So those two guys are going to be apparently the standout ones. And so far in terms of stats, it's proved that way. But for me, this guy, Regan Bunting, has been in there as well. He's had such a fantastic season. He's played really, really well, and I've been really proud of how he's gone about his business. He's got a lot of games under his belt, and he's never really looked out of his depth this season. Never once looked out of his depth. Let's just have a quick look at the other guys. Freddie Davidson has been a steady improvement on his stats throughout the season, more so towards the second half of the season, where he's improved a lot in my opinion. He found his touch in front of goal and then didn't want to let go, and his pace and acceleration, was his pace and acceleration always that high? I mean, his pace is 14, but his acceleration is 17. I didn't realise that. I've probably spoken about it in previous videos. I just didn't realise. With his 16 finishing though, he's in a good place. He's got 19 determination. So the kid, he's got his head screwed on. He's got a bright future, I think. A very bright future indeed. Oh no, there's Osborne. I didn't realise Osborne was under Davidson. So Osborne is the second potential guy, apparently. He's had a very good season in midfield. He's just been a very steady performer, a very solid performer. He's got a goal or 2 this season as well, which has been nice. Picked up that injury towards the end, so he missed the FA Cup final. But all in all, he's another one. He's never looked out of depth when he's played. Not once has he looked out of depth. We then move on to Mr. Much, who started slow. I was a bit like, why is he Wonder Kid status? He's not very good. He's not really kicking on. And then he started to settle. And then he started to calm down. And then he started to play. And when he plays, boy does he play. And he plays bloody well. He's turned in 12 goals and 16 assists in 32 appearances. He's not done badly. He's had a very good first season. And he'd do Ryan Giggs proud. He'd do Ryan Giggs proud, I think, in this instance. He's really, really pushed on. And despite his early showings, after those early stutters, he's not looked out of place in the team at all. We move on to Mr. Ashley Harwood. Now, this young man, him and Clark, easily the weakest of the class, easily. But they have managed to put in some fantastic performance. God, he's played 55 games overall this season, including all of these competitions here. That is crazy. Well, in terms of the Premier League, 15 appearances, 7.16 average rating. He's played in the Champions League off the bench. He's played in the FA Cup. He's played in the Carabao Cup. He's had a good season, and he has looked out of depth at times. There have been games that we have slipped up in where it's been because of his lack of quality. That's not having a go at him. It's not his fault. He's been thrust in there, but there's been times where you could easily tell if Lindelof, Bailly, Duera or Dyer or anybody else like that had been playing, Skriniar would have been playing, they would have probably stopped the issues that he had. But That's part of the process. That's what we're doing here. Be interested to see what happens to him over the next 5 seasons now. I honestly, personally think he will be leaving, along with this guy, Greg Clark. For me, he had a couple of incidences where he looks a little bit out of his depth. But other than that, for me, Greg Clark has had an absolutely superb season. He's looked very reassuring at times. He's looked very strong at times. He's performed fantastically. His tackling is superb. 16 for tackling. He is very clever, and his positioning at 15 is absolutely brilliant, because those two there seem to work in fantastic ways. He's lunged in at times when you've thought, oh dear, and he's just pinpoint tackled, been superb. So all in all, I'd say he's not always looked comfortable, but he has been pretty comfortable throughout the season. Pretty comfortable indeed. So that is what we've done this season. That is where we're at this season. For me, out of the lot, it was Regan Bunting. Why do I keep calling him Ryan? Regan Bunting was going to be my pick of the bunch, but I think for his sheer amount of goals in the second half of the season and the way he's just improved drastically in terms of performance, his stats have steadily improved throughout the season. He's not like shot up like massively like wonder kids tend to do, where they'll go from like a steady performance to suddenly bang up go your ratings and they set the world alight. He's just worked hard. You know what I'm saying? He's just worked hard in games, and I think he's benefited obviously from having Silver up top with him. That's going to benefit anybody, but he's also shown he can do it with the other guys up top of him. So for me, the pick of the season for me has been Freddie Davidson, simply for his improvement throughout the season. Regan Budd's in a close second with Jimmy Muchie third, probably then Osborne, Harwood and then Clark. I'd say probably those in that sort of an order, although Hayward and Clark are very level pegging. But for me, it's been this guy who's really stood out on top. Let me know in the comments down below, guys, who do you think has led the way for you out of the class? Who do you think has had the most impressive season from what you've seen and in terms of what you value as being impressive in the team? Okay, so there we go. That's that. The first season is done. So what next? I've touched on it in previous videos. I don't know yet whether I'm going to try and do the first 5 seasons with this manager still in place and setting it up so that staff do everything and stuff like that, and it kind of works out that way, that so it keeps me in the game. So I want to be able to select it so that they try and keep the class of 22 at the club, but it's going to be difficult to do that. We'll see what happens though. I'll work it out. If not, I'll just resign. Whoever comes in, and whatever happens, happens. Whichever way it goes, it could be 2 very different stories, to be honest. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, we're going to holiday for 5 years. Not sure when the next episode is going to be out, because it takes a while to holiday 5 years. And obviously have to do it, leave the computer running. And obviously I'm recording series and stuff, so I might have to do the 5-year jump over a couple of sections, and then we'll come back in 5 years time, look at what they've done and achieved, look at where they are, look at maybe who they're playing for, look at even if they are still playing. You never know, one of them might get released and not find a club and retire. Happens a lot on Football Manager, so we'll see what happens with that. And then we may do another time jump, a bigger time jump, and we'll just do it until their careers come to an end and see what happens to them at the end, see what trophies they've accumulated, what awards they've accumulated, and so on and so forth. So please remember to leave a big like on the video if you've enjoyed it, and if you're new here, please remember to subscribe. Got loads of other content coming up on the channel. I do have another mini series that will take over from this one, either before this one's done or after this one's done, because I don't know what time scale this is going to be, so you know, we'll have to wait and see. Play it by ear a little bit, but I will announce it on Twitter and stuff like that. Thank you for watching, guys. As ever, it's been a pleasure being in your face. Bye bye.